knowledge is not accessed yet by the vast majority. It's because there are two worlds within one world. There's the world of this global cult. Now, this is a global network of secret societies. It has an interlocking leadership, an inner circle core that connects into all these major secret societies, and many who aren't major. And through that system of levels, or what people call degrees of knowledge, you can do two things. One, you can pass over advanced knowledge in isolation from the population through the levels of the secret societies. And you can also, through the degrees of knowledge they're broken up into, you can decide who has that knowledge even within the cult structure and who doesn't. So, when I'm talking about advanced knowledge being passed over through the cult, I'm not talking about, a guy in a local Freemasons lodge. The Freemason network is overwhelmingly, Freemasons are overwhelmingly in the bottom three levels of degree, the so-called blue degrees. They're not aware beyond that, because each level within the secret society decides who in levels below can enter that level. And so it's fiercely compartmentalized, so that even the great majority of people within the cult network don't know the big picture. Because the more people that know it, the more likely it is to get infused into the general population. They don't want that. So we're talking about the inner core levels of this global cult, where the information is, the advanced information is passed over of, one, the agenda for the world and where it's being taken and why, and two, the nature of reality itself. And actually there's a third, which is what is actually running the show ultimately, and it's not even in this dimension of reality we call human. The other world is based on suppression of that knowledge and keeping the target population in ignorance of it. So if you look and you do the research, you find that it was major players in this cult, still not the core of the core, but major players that you can see operating in the public arena. And if you operate in the public arena, you're still a gopher. You're not the inner core of the inner core. But you can look at how they have created the sources and means of communicating information to the population. They created the so-called education system, which is not about education, it's about programming. It's about programming a perception of reality within the target population. If you were looking for a structure through which you could take young people, children, and turn out the adults that see the world the way you want them to see it, then you would have the current education system, which is, like I say, a programming system. You leave the womb and immediately your perceptions are influenced by your parents. And your parents have been through the same system you're about to go through. So those first initial years, your parents, not through malevolence, can be, but overwhelmingly not, are passing on their programming to you, not because they want to harm you, but because they have been convinced that's the way things should be. You then go to school, and now teachers representing the state with the state curriculum are telling you what to believe about everything. They're telling you when you have to be there, when you can leave, when you can eat, when you can go to the toilet, when you can talk. And this goes on throughout your formative years. You go on to college and university, and the same thing happens. You're being told what to believe. You're not being taught how to think. You're being taught what to think. And then you go off into your job, profession, whatever, at the end of this, and you're meeting all those people that have been through the same system you have, but earlier, and have taken on, again, all but the relative few, the version of reality and perception that's been programmed into them. And this is how these normals are formed. And anyone that steps out of that normal is a kind of, or asks questions that the teacher actually can't answer, except by repeating the official story. You become known as a disruptive influence in the classroom, and a problem child or whatever, when all you're doing is saying, show me that what you're telling me is true. And then you look at the media. Now, we're now at a point where those that control the major media corporations are tiny. You know, one of my books, I look at the ownership of a company called at the time Time Warner, and it's extraordinary. I just list the broadcast, TV, Hollywood, radio, newspaper, magazines that this corporation owns, and it goes on for pages. So you're looking at this cult again, creating and owning the media. And so the media takes its the way that it reports the world from the perception of the normal, which the cult wants us to believe in, the same normal that is indoctrinated through the education system. So from all angles, at all levels, people are being told the same sense of normal. And so we shouldn't be surprised that people believe it and develop these rigid belief systems of what's normal and what's not. So the difference between the world of the cult and the world of the population is simply knowledge.